Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. We spend so much time stressing over cookies and IP addresses, but there is a deeply embedded, completely silent tracker built right into your operating system. Today, we're dissecting some fascinating research on font fingerprinting protection for 2026, and I promise you, by the end of this, you are going to look at your web browser in an entirely different way. We all know the routine, right? You want to look something up privately, so you hit that button, the browser window goes dark, that comforting little spy hat icon pops up, and you feel totally secure, like the slate is wiped clean. Well, we've got to start by shattering that illusion. Most of us fire up a VPN, switch to incognito, and think we're truly invisible. But actually, incognito mode only stops the local saving of things like your history and cookies. It does absolutely nothing to hide your operating system's deepest secrets. It turns out websites don't even need a tracking cookie to know exactly who you are. They just need to look at the fonts installed on your computer.
So let's move into part one, the digital crime scene, and look at the actual tracking threat.
Let's step into this digital crime scene and identify the exact piece of evidence trackers use to hunt you down. It's something so unbelievably mundane, you probably haven't thought about it since you bought your laptop. The crucial point here is that font fingerprinting identifies you based on your unique, persistent set of installed fonts. Think about it for a second. Your operating system, your profession, your language preferences, the software you use, they all quietly add fonts to your system. Every Steam game you download, every Adobe app you run, adds a highly unique ridge to this persistent digital fingerprint. Have you ever downloaded, say, 50 different cursive fonts just for one wedding invitation or a holiday newsletter, and then just never deleted them? Well, congratulations. That specific cluster of neglected fonts is now a permanent trackable barcode completely attached to your machine. To really put the math into perspective here, a default Linux installation has maybe 80 to 120 fonts, giving trackers around 10,000 unique combinations to sort through. A clean Windows 11 system, that bumps it up to about 50,000 combinations. But look at how simply being a graphic designer using Adobe Creative Cloud just explodes your uniqueness. Suddenly you're sitting on a highly distinct system packed with 400 to 500 fonts. What's truly staggering is the sheer scale. We are talking about over 500,000 unique combinations for a creative professional. When you have a fingerprint with that level of high entropy, you're practically wearing a neon suit in a crowded room. Trackers can pick you out of a lineup instantly, simply because you have this incredibly unique mix of standard system fonts and specialty design fonts. Which brings us to part two, how the trackers dust for prints. So, you might be wondering, how are websites secretly extracting your font list without ever asking for your permission or triggering a warning? Well, they use a few brilliant techniques, the most common being the CSS fallback trick. And they have to use a trick because basic browser security prevents a website from just asking your operating system for a list of files. They aren't allowed to do that. So instead, they run a test. A script creates a completely hidden piece of text, measures its exact width and height using a baseline font, and then asks the browser to display that exact same text using a specific target font. If those dimensions change even slightly, boom, the tracker definitively knows you have that font installed. And a typical tracking script can test up to 500 different fonts in under 100 milliseconds, completely undetected by you. But it gets crazier. They don't stop at just measuring dimensions. Trackers also use a visual approach called JavaScript canvas probing. Basically, the script invisibly draws text onto an HTML5 canvas, which is essentially an invisible digital sketchbook built right into your browser, and then it reads the resulting pixel data back as a unique hash. Because different fonts render their shapes and curves slightly differently, that pixel hash acts as a perfect mathematical confirmation of exactly which fonts your browser is holding onto. And man, this is where it gets incredibly granular. Even if you have the exact same list of fonts as someone else, this glyph rendering analysis can still identify you. Trackers look at your system's anti-aliasing patterns, font hinting, ligature support. They are literally identifying you by looking at how your specific operating system smooths the edges of a letter F. This variation exists because Apple and Microsoft use entirely different proprietary tech to optimize how curves look on screens. A Mac's Cortex and Windows ClearType solve the exact same visual problem in fundamentally different ways, and trackers ruthlessly exploit those microscopic software differences to find you. All right, moving into part three, the threat multiplier, or basically why this is so dangerous. Why is this so much worse than a standard tracking cookie? Why do we need to be particularly worried about this going into 2026? The reality is, your font fingerprint is terrifyingly persistent. You can't just clear it like a cache. It survives browser restarts, and because fonts live at the foundational operating system level, Your fingerprint is identical across Chrome, Firefox, and Safari. It completely bridges your browsers. Add in the fact that it requires absolutely zero user permissions, and when you combine it with other data, like WebGL, which renders 3D graphics in your browser, it reaches 99.5% uniqueness. You are looking at a practically indestructible tracking mechanism. Okay, let's pivot to part 4, building your defenses. So the threat is massive, it's totally silent, and it works. How do we actually fight back and protect our digital identities? Well, modern browsers do offer some built-in protections. Firefox has a resist fingerprinting mode that restricts websites to a strict whitelist of standard fonts. Safari uses a curated system font list, and Brave actually throws randomized noise into the font measurements to confuse the trackers. But locking down your fonts comes with a frustrating trade-off. Limiting fonts can literally break website designs or cause non-Latin scripts to just render as empty little boxes. Not exactly great for everyday usability. Now, a lot of people try to use browser extensions to just block the scripts entirely. But here's the catch. If you just block the trackers, you stick out like a sore thumb. Average internet users do not proactively block font checks. Font spoofing, on the other hand, which privacy pros use heavily in specialized anti-detect browsers, is way superior. Instead of blocking, it feeds the tracker a curated, highly realistic list of fonts. You blend perfectly into the crowd by looking like the most generic computer on Earth. This leads perfectly into part 5, the ultimate disguise. If you want absolute, bulletproof isolation without tinkering with complex spoofing settings all day, let's talk about the best-in-class defense. According to the research, the ultimate disguise is using cloud browser instances. Services like Sendwin completely eliminate the problem by running your actual browsing session on a remote server in the cloud. Think about that for a second. It introduces a literal air gap. There is a physical wall of servers between the tracking script on the website and your computer's hard drive sitting in your living room. The website only ever interacts with the cloud server's pristine, standardized fonts. Your local, highly personal font collection is never touched or exposed. It solves the problem right at the foundational infrastructure level. The cloud provides OS-matched font sets. That sub-pixel edge smoothing we talked about, it matches the cloud's operating system, not yours. It is a perfect disguise that holds up even against the most aggressive auditing tools out there, like Creep.js, which is basically the internet's strictest open-source fingerprint scanner. Through the cloud, there are absolutely zero leftover fonts leaking from your personal Adobe or Steam installations. Let's wrap things up with part 6, your anti-tracking checklist. Now that we fully understand the sheer depth of this font fingerprinting threat, here's an actionable layered defense guide you can use right now to take your privacy back. First, use cloud browsers for highly sensitive tasks to guarantee zero local leakage. Second, for your everyday browsing, turn on those browser-level protections in Brave or Firefox. Third, take 10 minutes today to audit your system and just delete that weird specialty font you downloaded 5 years ago. Fourth, never grant websites the local font access API permission unless it's absolutely necessary. And finally, keep your browsing profiles strictly separated for different activities.
It really makes you rethink everything you assumed about digital privacy, doesn't it? I mean, if the simple innocent act of installing a cursive font to write a nice birthday card has been completely betraying your identity across the web this entire time, what other invisible digital trails are you unknowingly leaving behind? I'll leave you to ponder that one until our next explainer on the hidden architecture of the web. Stay curious and stay safe out there.